Hot edition on 3FM 92.7, coming to you live from our studio here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, Media Foundation for West Africa demands legal action and investigation into the military assault on Media General's Northeast Regional Correspondent Solomon Kanawule. We'll give you details in a moment. Also coming up, the Supreme Court dismisses application seeking to join the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a party to a constitutional action challenging aspects of the office's powers under law. And later, no significant improvement yet as the GPRTU and government work to resolve the month-long transport crisis. We are live around the world on 3news.com. Your messages and comments are also very welcome on our Facebook and YouTube stream, where this bulletin can also be viewed. Do let us know what you make of the many stories we have for you tonight. But before the details, let's bring you the news summaries with Nura Mohammed. Hello, Nura.
Hello, Martin. Good evening. First in the summaries, a cloud of controversy has emerged over the disbursement of funds under the Bloomberg Philanthropies Supported Youth Climate Action Fund in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis of the Western region, with the Member of Parliament for Sekondi, Blaine Nyamecha Arma, accusing some assembly members of pocketing money meant for youth-led climate change projects. The disputed funds form part of a $100,000 second-round grant awarded to the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly (SCMA) by Bloomberg Philanthropies to support climate action initiatives spearheaded by young people. Also in the summaries, the Cybersecurity Authority (CSA) has discovered a new WhatsApp web malware called Astaroth used to steal banking details of unsuspecting Ghanaians. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the CSA said the new malware attack uses WhatsApp web on Windows computers to spread the dangerous banking malware. Also, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has expressed satisfaction with initiatives taken by the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, and his team to turn around the power sector from collapsing. During a working visit to the ministry in Accra on January 27, the Vice President said she is happy that Ghanaians did not experience power cuts following the huge debts in the ailing sector the NDC government inherited in 2025. Also, a member of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Della Kofi, has projected that former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will win the New Patriotic Party MPP flag-bearer primaries. However, he said the MPP will struggle in the 2028 general elections with him as the presidential candidate. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto, has said that on the instructions of President Mahama, Ghana has made an additional donation of construction equipment, air-conditioned tents, boats, outboard motors, medical supplies, water purifiers, plumbing, and electrical tools to the Jamaican government. And this, he said, is to enable Jamaica rebuild its country post-Hurricane Melissa. And that'll be all for the summaries. Over to you, Martin.
Thank you very much, Nura, for the summaries. Now let's settle for the details of our stories this evening. And I will start from that unfortunate development between some soldiers and a Media General journalist who was unfortunately brutalized yesterday. And the news, or the latest update regarding that particular story, is that residents of Wale in the Northeast region say they are currently living in constant fear of the military brutalities in the area. The residents, while condemning an assault on Media General's regional correspondent Solomon Kanawule, they called on the defense minister to ensure that such assaults with expeditiously, and they have asked the defense minister to ensure that the military officers who assaulted the journalists and residents are identified and punished accordingly. Solomon Kanawule was assaulted by a military operations team in Wale while he's on his official duty in town. We'll connect with him shortly and speak to Christopher Amwaku, who Solomon himself narrates the ordeal that he went through.
To enter the shop and buy what I want. In about 3 steps away from the motor, then the military arrived, about 4 of them. So they shouted, whose motor is this? Whose motor is this? So I came back and I said, before I could open my mouth to say, oh, that is my motor, then they gave me the first cane. One closer to me gave me the cane. So he saw the t-shirt I was wearing is Omia TV. So he was about to give me the second one, but paused because he saw the Omia TV. Then the one behind him. So after he saw that I was wearing Omia TV t-shirt, he asked me, who are you? So I told him, oh, I'm the TV3 media general correspondent in the region. So before I could end the sentence, the one from behind also rushed in and gave me the second stroke. So the one who was earlier interacting with me told him that in P or stay or a media general reporter. So he said, and so what? So there he gave me the second, the third and fourth stroke with a wire. The first one used a stick, and then the second one he used wire. So they gave it to me there, and then I pushed my motor from where it's not as if I park where they are at a place that has been restricted. I park it far away. Later he made a call, and he called me that I should come for the phone. I went, he gave me the phone to talk to somebody. The person introduced himself to me as their commander. He asked me to narrate what happened. I told him, and he said no. Then the guys didn't do well. So he is apologizing on their behalf. So they will release me to go. I said.
So that's the narration from Solomon Kwame Kanalue, who is our Northeast Regional Correspondent. Very unfortunate development there, very condemnable development there. We are hoping that some strict action is taken. Let's speak to Christopher Mwako now, who is our Northern Regional Correspondent himself, following this particular story for us. Chris, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So what's the current situation with Solomon? And in your earlier report, you indicated that the residents, based on the action of the soldiers and the attack on the journalist, say they are living in fear. Is the situation still the same?
He's doing well. Earlier today, we were at the police station to formally lodge a complaint. Then after that, we took a police medical form. Yesterday, he was at the hospital though, but he went there because he was not feeling too good after the incident. So this morning, we were at the hospital where he was examining the game. And as we speak, he's doing very well. Now, for the residents of the Walwali community, they are very disappointed in the military action yesterday. They say that this is not the first time that residents have been subjected to such ill treatment from the military. Yesterday, so they were disappointed because there is nothing like curfew, there is nothing like insecurity in the community. All they saw was over 40 military officers storming the community and started beating people around, telling them to move away from the road. As we speak, some vehicle owners are unhappy because some of the vehicles that were parked along the road have all been destroyed. Their tires have been destroyed, and their owners have to go and get new tires to fix. Residents are saying that it's one too many actions from the military, and they do not know what exactly their crime is. The district municipal chief executive as well as the Northeast Regional Minister have all condemned the action of the military, and they are saying that they have placed calls to the appropriate quarters to ensure that the perpetrators of yesterday's unfortunate incident are identified and the necessary actions taken against them.
So let's listen to some of the residents whom you've been interacting with, and then we'll come and ask, have we been able to establish what exactly the military men were doing in town? So you do have that at the back of your mind. We'll be back after the residents speak.
We were here. This is our station. This is where we work. So yesterday they just came. They did not even value us like we are people. They just started beating us. Even yesterday here, some gentlemen were just wearing his shorts. They naked him yesterday here. My master car is over there, 4 tires. The car is standing at bus stop, the car park. They spoil all the tires. You can even check there, it's there right now. Almost 28 million. Where do you get that kind of money to fix the tires? Even yesterday, TV3, a man was here. He said he was working at TV3. He came and he approached them. They started beating him. All of us were here. Yesterday, we were not happy. All these women, all people were just running. People wounded. They started, even motor, they destroyed motor, many motor. So yesterday, what they did, we are not happy about that. We are not happy. Because of some of the cars and some of the drivers are not there, many of them wounded. They spoil cars here.
Basa sa nyirbu buna pam onko dar moto damba al paloni nyaba mpura nyirbu ko be se dama lo ko be se dama ashe se kuna ko ba so to understand but town on this way ni shema
very obviously very unhappy residents there, but yes, Chris, before you even answer my question, the lady at the end of the residents who were speaking to us, what exactly was she saying?
Yes, she was actually narrating the incident that happened yesterday, that they do business along the road. They were there, then they saw the military come in their pickups. They got down and they started beating people who were doing business and also doing other things on the road. And they didn't understand why. But they didn't have the strength to challenge them, so they just ran for their lives.
But do we know what exactly the military men were doing in town?
Yes, so the municipal chief executive has indicated that according to the military, they said there was this social media post by someone that, yesterday there was a court hearing on the other Bokunaba who was arrested from the Nampu seaside. And so the military saw a social media post that some group of young men said they were going to block the road, the Bolga road. And so they were responding. You know that the police have abandoned the various checkpoints on the road. So they were patrolling the road. And so to ensure that the social media post they saw, it does not happen. And so they got to town and they started beating people. So their mission was to ensure that they patrol the road. Unfortunately, when they got to the Walwali community, they started beating people who were doing business along the road.
Okay, now, Chris, before you take leave of us, I'm sure you've tried to, like you indicated, try to speak to people in charge, at least the authorities, on what exactly may have led to this. They say probably was on some social media post, but generally, would you say calm has returned to the area? Are there action they intend to take after this? What exactly is the strategy going forward?
Yes, so Martin, you know that some military officers have been stationed in Walwali following some level of insecurity some 1 or 2 months ago. Now, these officers we saw yesterday in the Walwali community who came and committed and assaulted people, allegedly, these people were from Boga. They were not stationed in the Walwali community. So after they were done with those actions, they returned to their base in Boga. So they are not there, but those that have been stationed in Walwali already, they are there. In fact, actually, the commander there was the one that even apologized to Solomon for the actions that those who came from Bolga came to take. And so as we speak, calm has been restored because those who came have left, but residents are not just happy about the whole incident, and they want the defense ministry to ensure that they investigate this matter so that the military officers who were in Walwali yesterday on that operation are identified and the necessary actions taken against them.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts on this subject. He is our Northern Regional Correspondent, helping us appreciate what exactly the situation was and what the situation is today, a day after the unfortunate attack on the journalist by some soldiers who later, we are told, have actually left the area because it was an operation or some information they picked up which got them to assemble at the area. But our correspondent, we are told, is recovering from the unfortunate, maltreatment from the soldiers, and will update you on how all of this plays out. But a number of individuals have been talking about this and condemning the unfortunate attack on the journalist. One of them is Richard Kumado, who is a fraud and security consultant, and he says the Ghana Armed Forces and the media must fashion out a communication strategy to prevent these excesses. We'll bring you what else the regional minister and member of parliament have been saying. But let's listen to Richard Kumado, the security consultant, on this unfortunate development.
It's condemnable, it's unnecessary, and I think these are our brothers in uniform who took the law into their own hands this evening. In this modern day and age, some of these conducts may land them in some level of difficulty. Number two, it is my prayer and hope that the CDS and the commander he referred to have watched the video or have access to the person information. And I believe the overall output of our military, and I don't think they will tolerate some of these issues that may put the name of the military into jeopardy. There have to be investigation and appropriate actions will have to be taken. And I want to trust the CDS and I trust all the other related authorities in this matter. But then what is also important is that if you are not a non-journalist like Council or many of our people who have been on the front lines, there's also the need for proper education and there's a need for proper introduction when you find yourself within military operations. One of the things military officers are always apprehended about is what we call operational security. And they wouldn't want journalists who they don't know or anybody at all who work within that premises to be able to begin to take pictures and record whatever they do. Then the third point is we are mostly reactive and not responsive. And so we are impatient with one another, and communication sometimes, and in most times, in many of these circumstances, become a problem. And you can see from the ordeal and the narration from Solomon that communication was a problem right from day one. And if they had listened to themselves a little bit, then you would have realized that Solomon would have introduced himself properly to them with not just wearing of a t-shirt, but with a proper identification where references can be taken by the soldiers. And that is what we need to educate ourselves to establish that relationship between law enforcement officers and the general public, particularly media people. Until we are able to do that successfully, we'll continue to have some of these difficulties.
Richard Kumado is the fraud and security consultant. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Wale Wale, Dr. Kabiru Tia, who spoke to 3FM earlier, also condemned the incident, calling on the Defense Minister to immediately intervene or face a parliamentary legal redress. The
commander who ordered them to go to Wale Wale without any provocation the head must rule. He has to first lose his job for us to even know that, well, if you act in excess of your authority, if you act in a manner without discretion, if you act in a manner without guided by reasonable, cause, you ought to lose your job. That is the first start, because we cannot have such criminals in our military. We cannot have such deviants in our military, because acting that way is you are not different from the criminal on the street. Taking the law into your own hands and using the machinery of the state to bully people and assault people, you are not different from the criminal. So those people, I think, to start with, must lose their job. And then we properly interrogate. Look, if there's any threat of any civilian life in Wale Wale, I would support fully the law to take the course of anyone found to be a threat to the national security. But I will never support the state being used or the power of the state being used to mental atrocity. So dismissal of the officers and those people who directly committed this offense against the journalists and the scores of civilians have to equally pay for that. This will be the military or government approach to restoring confidence. And I'm open. If any of those particular persons are affected, is hoping to take a civil action, which is a wrong against the person himself. As a member of parliament, I'll give the person my fullest cooperation and support to ensure that his rights are ventilated and then he gets the compensation so deserved.
As you rightly admitted earlier, this is not the first time this is happening to any media person in that part of the country. What, in your opinion, should be the protective measures for journalists in that part of Ghana?
Well, I think that the first thing is to remove biases. You get the point. You don't come, no matter the protective measures you put in place to avoid any skirmishes. When you come in and assume that every single person you see in town or someone seen covering what you are doing, if you know what you are doing is proper, why are you even afraid that a journalist will cover it? So the first thing is for them to remove bias and prejudice and to do their work professionally. The second thing is for them to improve civilian-military relationship, improve dialogue and cooperation. For instance, if you have intelligence that someone probably may be attacking a vehicle, say in Wale Wale or anywhere within the Wale Wale Barbatanga routes, engage with the local security. The police is in the Wale Wale. There's even a military command in Wale Wale. These people know nothing about what has happened. Why can't you engage them for them to share local knowledge with you in a manner of addressing this issue? That, I think, is another approach that the military can use, whether they are internal or external to the jurisdiction of Wale Wale and its environment. They can engage the local actors to build consensus. Even the military doesn't operate in isolation. The regional minister is there. The minister chief executive is there. These people can help you with actionable intelligence to arrest anyone or to forestall any possible crime that will be committed. Well, so I'm not going to relent. Parliament is opening. If we don't hear anything from the military command, any reserve explanation. When Parliament resumes, the minister will be called to Parliament to answer, give reasons why civilians were attacked unprovoked. That is something that I can do. That is something within my powers to do. So, as I said, any of these particular people affected has the right to pursue civil action, and I'm willing to provide every support.
Thank you.
And if that is not happening, we'll petition for an inquiry.
And that is Dr. Kabiru Tia, who is the Member of Parliament for the Wale Wale constituency. Still on the same subject, the Media Foundation for West Africa has condemned the assault on Media General's Northeast Regional Correspondent during the coverage of a military exercise in the Northeast region. The foundation says attacks on journalists undermine press freedom and accountability.
The Media Foundation for West Africa condemns this inhumane and very unfortunate for a country that is democratic, that believes in the rule of law, and to have security agents or officers of the security, the military for that matter, assault a journalist when the person is in a clearly identifiable attire as a journalist. I think it's very, very unfortunate and very, very condemnable. There's need to increasingly seek legal redress for some of these unfortunate incidents, because if it's just public condemnation and then it ends there, we've seen that in the past. We haven't really had much result. Let's also go through the legal means, do litigation, and ensure that we get justice for abused journalists. Media General should not let this case be one of those others that have gone unredressed. I think the media organization should pursue this case to a logical conclusion and ensure that justice is served. To the military command, I would say this is an opportunity for them to let Ghanaians know that they don't approve unprofessionalism among its officers. And so they must take the necessary action to bring the said officers to book to serve as a deterrent to others.
And you had the Media Foundation for West Africa's representative there giving us their thoughts on it, that it is important that the media house itself, the Ghana Armed Forces, and government for that matter take this particular issue seriously and ensure that it comes to a logical conclusion. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. We're going on to some other stories now. The Supreme Court has dismissed an application seeking to join the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a party to a constitutional action challenging aspects of the office's powers under law. Private legal practitioner Noah Dartey has joined us on the phone for a conversation on this particular issue. Well, actually, private legal practitioner Noah Dartey has filed a suit challenging the constitutionality of Parliament's decision to set up the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Let's get what exactly this means from our court correspondent's position on this. Joining us in studio now is Lord Eduasare. Lord, thank you for joining us. To start with, to the layman, what exactly is this? Give us a backstory to it.
Right, so Noah Dartey, the private legal practitioner, he's filed a suit at the Apex Court challenging Parliament's power to, as it were, get an act which essentially established the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, he's asking the Apex Court to declare it as unconstitutional. Let me just briefly go through some of his reliefs. He says here that a declaration that on a true and proper interpretation of Articles 1, 2, 88, 93, 2, and 296 of the 1992 Constitution, prosecutorial authority in Ghana is vested exclusively in the Attorney General and cannot be exercised independently of or in parallel with the Attorney General. Again, it says a declaration that the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959, to the extent that it purports to confer original, autonomous, or insulated prosecutorial authority on the OSP is inconsistent with and in contravention of Articles 1, 2, 88, 3, 4, 93, 2, and 296 of the Constitution, and is therefore now void and of no effect. The third one says a declaration that Sections 3, 3, and 4 of Act 959, in purporting to make the Office of the Special Prosecutor independent of the AG in the initiation, conduct, and termination of prosecutions, violates the Constitution. Fourth one is that a declaration that Parliament lacks the authority to enact legislation creating a prosecutorial body with powers equivalent to or independent of the AG, absent a constitutional amendment in accordance with Articles 289 and 290. And a declaration that Parliament acted ultra vires its legislative authority under Article 93(2) in purporting through Act 959 to compel a permanent delegation of the Attorney General's prosecutorial powers to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And so, Martin, we heard him, these are some of his declare or, basically declare that the Office of the Special Prosecutor, in this, as it stands now, is an unconstitutional body because of Parliament initiating the act which sets it up. But then today in court, lawyers of the Special Prosecutor filed a suit to join this suit at the Apex Court. Now, their argument is that the existence of the suit in this state, in case the Apex Court grants it will directly affect them. And so they wanted to be party to the suit in order to be defendants and then put their foot forward as to why the Office of the Special Prosecutor is a body which is relevant in its existence and everything. But the Deputy Attorney General, he was representing the Attorney General and essentially the state, he argued that the assistants, the Office of the Special Prosecutor cannot ask to be joined to the party because they are not relevant to the suit. They are not assistants. They don't have any interest in the suit in itself. Yes, they are a body, but the case is against the Parliament, right? And essentially, the Attorney General is the body that defends Parliament whenever there's a case against the state. And so they indicated that if anything at all, the OSP shouldn't be defending itself. Right. Okay. And then Noah also came in, he put before the court the same argument that the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they misconstrued whatever the reliefs are. They don't, although they are party to the suit, it doesn't directly affect them as a body. So essentially, the Attorney General is the body that should be talking about this and not the OSP.
Okay.
And then after the various arguments from all the parties, the bench, 5-member panel of judges, ruled that indeed the OSP cannot be party to the suits, and so essentially they dismissed the application to join the suit by the OSP.
Okay. Right. Lord, thank you for that report. Lord Edu-Asare is a man who was in court today following this issue for us. Let's now speak to private legal practitioner John Kwesen. Mr. Kwesen, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening, my brother Martin. Hope everything is well.
Yes, sir, it is. To start with, do you have a better or clear idea why a private legal practitioner in the person of Noah Adamting would say, for instance, that issues regarding prosecution should not be in the powers of the OSP and that it should only be the Attorney General who can prosecute or at least prosecute someone, and then that prosecution becomes punitive, if you understand what I mean?
Okay, coming from the background and the fact that the OSP didn't just jump into being, OSP as an institution, not as in person, is a creation, okay, or a creation from Parliament of Ghana. So it's become an act, Act 959. Are you getting my point?
Yes, I do.
So Parliament didn't just get up, okay, by themselves, saying that the OSP should play A, B, C, D. And you know how laws or acts are passed in this country. It goes through so many stages, or let's say the 4 stages, before we could have it as an act. Now, let's look at it from this angle. Primarily, when cases come up, the judicial system or the court system, apart from the substantive or the procedure, are also enjoined by law to look at the background, okay? Yes, and then how cases even come before them. I think for the past few months, 6 months or beyond, from the media landscape, we have on record that for some time now, the office of OSP and then the office of the Attorney General are miles apart. They are fighting each other. You see, that is one point to the background of this particular instance.
Okay.
Now, from nowhere, a suit is filed. And also, we're being told that the OSP, the Department of the Attorney General, is getting angrier, and their desire is to ensure that, or maybe do away with the office of the special prosecutor. That's the second background. Now, let me come to the substantive matter that the court dealt with today. I hold a contrary view. But now that the ruling is out, you and I can discuss and look at the academic aspect of it too. I hold a contrary view because this matter directly affects the OSP. Also, when the OSP, by law, you see, by law, if you go to the section 4 of the Act, the mandate given to the OSP, it says it should be as autonomous as possible until such instances that, because of administrative setup, the Attorney General will have to come in. But even that, they should resist violence at all material points in time. Okay. In court, if you want to file anything joinder, the applicant should be able to indicate or show that the matter properly before court has something to do with them, especially if your name is mentioned. In this particular instance, the case in its entirety affect the OSP has nothing to do with the Attorney General. Now let's come also a bit closer. Why should a government institution fight another government establishment? In any case, must the Attorney General be fighting for or on behalf of the OSP or the Attorney General should be fighting a whole government institution. I hope you are getting my point.
Yes, yes.
And issues of joinder. The Attorney General is the mother being. But how can the Attorney General propose to know more than a creation under it? Also, when the OSP by law is supposed to be autonomous and independent in most of its activities.
So your disagreement...
And don't we think that the issue affects the office of the Special Prosecutor more than the office of the Attorney General? In any case, anytime you want to sue the Attorney General, because the Attorney General doesn't know much about the institution, what we do is that you attach the institution to the Attorney General. Okay. So if the Attorney General becomes the first defendant, okay, the institution, if it's Electoral Commission, they come second. Because they also must have the opportunity in answering some questions, details of which the Attorney General wouldn't be in the position of answering. So in this particular instance, I don't really see why the Attorney General Department should be fighting each other. That will go against the common good of the country.
Right. So let me try and see if I fully grasp what you're saying. Your disagreement, first of all, is about today's dismissal of application by the Supreme Court, which is barring the joinder. Preventing the Special Prosecutor's Office from joining the case which is already before the court. So you disagree that because the conversation sits directly on the lap of the OSP or is about the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they need to be a part of it. And so you would have preferred that they were there.
And it will not even spoil anything. It will even strengthen the case of the Attorney General.
Right.
But I gave you the background that the two institutions are fighting among each other.
Is that not public perception?
Is the personalities fighting first?
Is that not public perception?
And that is affecting the institution that the country has established.
Council.
So personal matters eating into our governance setup.
Yes, but Council, I'm asking that, is it not a public perception that the OSP and the AG are fighting?
Yeah, that is what I'm saying.
Okay, so it may not be real or true. It is a perception out there that both of them, and this one is not even the institutions in themselves. It is individuals who are
I will not
leading
even let you go far. They are public utterances, the personalities. That is why I stated that it is not even the institutions fighting themselves. It is some figures, some personalities within the Attorney General Department, and then some figures also within the Office of Special Prosecutor. But if you do so, it's affecting our 1992 Constitution, okay? Right. And then also the country as a whole. Public servants are supposed to be there to serve the interests of the country. And look at it. By so doing, instead of teaming up in working for the betterment of the country, they are fighting each other. And then in court, to the extent that in court, one is even saying, I don't even need you to be part of it. Even though the matter affects the Office of Special Prosecutor.
Okay.
And I know that if the OSC should go for a review, the chances of winning the review will be higher.
It's high. Okay.
Now, because the issues affect the OSP more than
even the
Attorney General. So the question we may ask is that, of what interest is the case to the Attorney General, even more than the OSP? And mind you, the Attorney General hasn't gone to court. It's a private person that has gone to court.
And Parliament
the Attorney General doesn't play the role of the OSP. By law, the Attorney General doesn't play the role of the OSP.
Okay, yeah, but it is part of the substance that the private legal practitioner or the private person is seeking interpretation on, isn't it? That
those are allegations. Those are allegations. Right. So why must we not give them the opportunity to also defend themselves? I hope you understand.
I do.
And what benefit will it be to the Attorney General if your principal witness or your principal partner, you say he shouldn't be part of it? Okay. It goes to mean that there is some prejudicial mentality elsewhere.
Right. But as a lawyer, what do you make of the substance of the case, the very basis of the case, which is that the person is saying that the creation of the office of the special prosecutor in itself contravenes the Constitution and is even against the Attorney General's powers. It takes away from the Attorney General's powers, especially the power to prosecute. What do you make of this conception? Does that not mean...
Mind you, the current Attorney General himself was part of those who promulgated the Act, the OSP 959. Yes. And then this is not an executive instrument. It's an act of parliament. So do you think that parliament will be, as it is on the surface, promulgating laws that will contravene the Constitution? Do you get my point?
I do.
And that's why I'm saying for the past 6 months, there have been some public utterances and then personalities who are in charge of the OSP and then Attorney General Department have been seen publicly fighting amongst each other.
Okay.
You see the point? So, whereby it gets to a point that the whole thing becomes so complicated, then one might want to say, I am higher in your power.
Yeah.
I'll also show you where power lies.
And could even affect
that
the
even if a private person is filing something, then they say, no, we don't need you there. Okay. Meanwhile, by law, by legal means, joiner is just somebody who is an interested party. And then there's a feeling that he should also be part. In fact, I was expecting the court to have even invited the OSP to join if the OSP didn't make that effort. In this case, the OSP themselves have made the effort that this matter before court affects us directly. So we should just be given the opportunity to be part of the case. And if possible, answer questions that will help this country. I don't see why this should be difficult for the court to do.
Okay.
And then the interesting twist is that the Attorney General, who is a family member of the OSP, is rather fighting the OSP not to come and help the case. So you are just accepting that the case should go in favor of the private person. Technically, that's what it means.
Well, that it could be what it means. We would wait to see what argument the Attorney General will put up, since, like you're indicating, and it's public knowledge that the current AG himself was one of the proponents of the Special Prosecutors Act. He probably might put up a stronger argument for them and the relevance of their existence to our general fight against corruption and jurisprudence. So we'll see what the coming days hold. Thank you so much for speaking to us on this.
Thank you, my brother.
And that is John Kwesing, a private legal practitioner, helping us at least put into perspective what this particular issue is all about and what the decision of the Supreme Court means, where they prevented the special prosecutor from joining a case that has been brought before it in the Supreme Court to, more or less interpret the strength and the relevance of the special prosecutor's office and whether or not it takes away from the powers of the Attorney General. In the coming days, all of this will be clearer for all of us to follow. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. And we're going on to some other stories now. The Ghana Immigration Service has officially begun its nationwide recruitment exercise, with candidates being screened across multiple centers. The exercise involves document verification, height measurement, and physical fitness checks conducted in batches to ensure smooth processes. Deborah Abba-Mensah was at a center in Accra and has filed this report.
In Accra, applicants are being processed in batches across 10 centers, with both morning and afternoon sessions as the Ghana Immigration Service works to ensure the exercise runs smoothly. Some candidates have reportedly attempted to falsify their ages, presenting conflicting birth dates on their Ghana cards and other documents. The exercise also seeks to recruit professionals such as mechanics and artisans who may receive some flexibility with age, while regular career recruits must meet strict fitness requirements. Samuel Basintale Amadou is the Comptroller General of the Ghana Immigration Service.
Most of them, I believe, are trying to change their dates of birth for obvious reasons. So they are coming with the date on their Ghana card is different from the new birth certificates they have gone for. So they are trying, some of them have affidavit to back it or whatever. But you see, let me give them a general advice. If you are 40 and you lie that you are 30, when you get to the field, you are likely to even die because you are subjected to a certain level of fitness. And once the age is not on your side, you will not make it. So you fall off and then off you go. So
those who pass the initial screening will move on to a new computer-based examination system introduced for the first time. This system delivers instant results and is designed to prevent cheating.
This is the first time we are going that way. The human face is out. The exams is set and it's programmed. So when you take your eye off the screen for 10 seconds, it will shut you off. So if you think that you are doing it at the comfort of your home, you can cheat. Forget it. Yeah.
And that's a report put together by Deborah Bamensa on the recruitment exercise currently ongoing across the country by the Ghana Immigration Service. Now, the minister in charge of... so let's take you back to our earliest, another headline story we have for you, which is one of the most topical issues over the last few weeks. It has to do with public transport. And a tour of some transport corridors has shown there are still queues and insufficient buses to transport people, weeks after the Vice President initiated actions to get the challenge resolved. Drivers have blamed heavy traffic congestion and the increasing use of private vehicles for the prolonged crisis. Christian Yalia, a man who's been on the tail of this particular story, has more in this report.
As of 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, January 27th, when I arrived at the Madina Zongo Junction in Accra, there were scores of people still waiting for the next available vehicle with little chance of finding space, as most arriving vehicles were already almost fully loaded. By almost 10 o'clock a.m., corporate and informal sector workers were braving the scorching sun, already late for work. A stranded worker says the consequences of arriving late could be far-reaching.
I'm going to work, and even if I'm able to get a car now, I'm still going to join traffic again.
How productive are you when you get to work?
Well, you can't do nothing, you know. The time is already gone. And second, you have to do extra work. And sometimes, if you are not lucky, you'll be sacked because no one is waiting for you to come and, you know, you are working as someone, you need to be on time.
At the main station, there were enough vehicles, although people still ended up in queues several times.
The money drivers pay each time they pick passengers at the station forces many to operate outside.
Cars be bro, hunter, then a due time be a cars need to be shorting.
Hey, cars in the cars also, but I'm up on so too.
We experience shortage of cars, mostly due to traffic congestion.
Cars in the corner, on the traffic more, a bit of a no, baby, one.
I didn't know more Bejina Quahono, among post station because station cars be bro.
Destinations.
The stations do not have cars moving to all destinations. Some get theirs by the roadside.
Cars go on.
When you talk to the drivers, some are saying that the traffic congestion is to blame for the long queues we see at the terminals, also because the cars do not get to move rapidly as they should, and so you would always get to see people standing here like this. And another thing is that people who would have otherwise parked their private cars to come to join Trotros are now driving, also because the fuel prices have dropped.
We want to see better. We want to see a Ghana resetting through Metro Mass.
2 weeks ago, the Vice President engaged the transport and local government ministers and also toured the Metro Mass and Ayalolo Yard to find solutions to the situation. But no significant outcomes have been seen yet, despite a campaign to invest in the railway sector.
I'm not a driver of this vehicle, and I don't intend to move it to the destination. This vehicle is moving all the way to Agbogba and Ashoma and adjoining areas. But you realize that at the La Paz station, there are a lot of vehicles here, and the usual queues that you would come to meet early mornings at the rush hour are not here as of now. But still, the conversation for many of these drivers has been about how much they pay into servicing these vehicles.
And that report was put together by my colleague Christian Yale. Meanwhile, the transport minister, the minister in charge of road and highways, Kwame Asiedu-Dartey, has confirmed that the Ministry of Finance has paid 10 billion Ghana cedis to road contractors, dismissing claims that the government is failing to honor its financial obligations while outlining major infrastructure plans for 2026. In an interview on 3FM's Sunrise on Tuesday, the minister said that the payments were part of the deliberate efforts to restore confidence in the road construction sector and accelerate stalled projects across the country.
Okay, the 10 billion is a government of Ghana portion of arrears. Currently, the Road Maintenance Trust Fund is also in a process of paying for the road maintenance we do, that maintenance work, minor works. Roland, we are owing people 6,000 cedis from 2020, 2022 for cutting the roadside.
That long?
Yes. Cutting roadside. Sometimes elderly people, 80 years, 85 years old, work 6,000 Ghana cedis I'm talking about. So Friday, we paid the first batch of 10 million Ghana cedi to clear all those things. And
you mean 10 billion?
10 million.
10
because
million.
They are 6,000. I mean, sometimes, and they are the bulk of the contractors or service providers in this country. So on daily basis, payments are going to address. And how did we do it? Their certificates have been validated, loaded onto the GIFME system. So if you give an instruction to the computer, pay everybody that is owed 100,000 cedi, automatically the transfer is made to their account. They don't need the minister. It is simply because your data exists. If you go and say, okay, the next batch paid everybody who is owed up to 2 million Ghana cedi, because it's in the system, you just, so you don't even need to come to me and ask me, am I going to be paid? Because I don't have access to the data as to about 1,000 contractors in the system, because I don't even need to look at that data. That is how President Mahama is resetting even payment of contractors.
And that is Kwame Asiedu-Dartey there. And that's it for the bulletin. It came your way from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. I am Martin Asiedu-Dartey. If you go to our website, 3news.com, you'll find many more stories there. Do have a good evening.